talk plenty, so it's going to be a challenge for me to cut out of these things. YouTube channel is hard, guys.
You do this every day. Yeah. Shake, 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 shake.
Hi guys, this is Mofi Oloba and welcome to Words Within Words. You already know by the title, but we are looking at the book Atomic Habits, and I am going to share 5 lessons I learned from this book. I know I don't like long YouTube intros, but I have to say this. This book is actually life changing. I love the fact that it doesn't just give the points, it actually gives practical steps. And that's what we're all about in this channel. We are not just going to read or point out lessons that we learn from books, we are going to see how we can apply it in our lives practically. So let's get into it. So I actually have a book here where I write the lessons that I learned from reading books and how I can apply the lessons in my practical life. And I'm just going to be reading the points from there. So the first thing that I learned from this book is you actually do not need to make massive changes to see results. A lot of us think that in order to be the kind of person we want to be, we have to drastically change our lives. I want to run a marathon, so I have to start running right now every morning for an hour. That is huge. And that is actually a myth. One of my favorite examples that James Clear points out is when he explained, imagine you are a pilot and you're driving from Los Angeles to New York. If you change the heading just 3.5 degrees south, you're actually going to land in Washington, D.C. I was like, okay, that is huge. That is a very small, barely noticeable change that yielded a massive result. So, how can we apply this in our lives today? If you want to be more financially independent, you can actually start by saving small. You can get an automated app where you actually deduct a certain amount. It does not have to be huge. If you want to learn a new language, think about it like starting your day and just devoting 5 minutes to practicing that language. It actually looks barely noticeable, like the play, but over time you would see results. So the idea of this is that small habits compound over time. The idea is to make small but consistent changes, and in time you would see results. So the second thing I've learned is that every outcome of your life presently is a lagging measure of your habits. I know that sounds bogus, but let's think about it deeply. I want us to do a little exercise. I want you to quickly review yourself in a minute. Run through the habits that you have, the things that you see in your life, who you are. Everything that you are is a result of the habits you have built over time. There is an equation that I absolutely love from the book The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It is event plus response equals outcome. Basically, the event can be constant, but it is how you respond to the event that will determine your outcome in life. So, for example, the same thing can happen to me and my friend, but it's how I respond to it and how my friend responds to it that will determine the outcome for us. So, how does this play out in our habits? I want you to write down the outcome that you want to see in your life. Do you want to be a person that wakes up early? Do you want to be a person that is calm in stressful situations? Do you want to be healthy in terms of how you eat and the workouts that you do? So, this outcome that you have listed now, I want you to take a minute to actually do that. It doesn't have to be a lot. I want you to write down 5 things you want to see in your life, the kind of person you want to be. And I want you to edit the response. How can I respond to the events of my day? When I am met with eating junk food, how can I respond to it to determine the outcome that I want to see? So, the third thing that I have learned from this book, and I think a lot of us actually struggle with this when we start our new year resolutions, but we do not seem to follow through with them, is that mastery requires patience. A lot of us get frustrated that I want to learn this language, but this language is not learning. I want to eat healthier, but every time I am posed with the option, I go for the unhealthy thing. But I want you to know that mastery requires patience. I love how scientific James Clear became. He drew a graph. I'm going to put it up on the screen. This is actually what we expect to happen when we start a new hobby or habit that we want to build, and we get frustrated because it seems like nothing is happening. I'm hitting the gym, but I'm not losing weight. But that is expected because it is not linear. It reaches a certain threshold, then you begin to see changes. So I want us to be patient with ourselves. It is okay that you're putting in the work, but you are not yet seeing the result. How can we apply this to our lives? I want us to think of our habits as seeds. When we think of a plant, you have to first plant the seed in the ground, and it doesn't sprout out in the beginning. You have to water it. So the habit, the more you repeat it, that is seen as watering the habit. If you want to be a steady tree, if you want to be a strong tree, you must grow roots first. That is the order. Because if the roots are shallow and if the tree springs forth initially, it is not going to be steady. It is going to fall eventually when the rocks and the storms of life come. So we have to know that the more you are doing the habits, the more you're repeating it. It might not look as much in the beginning, but do not worry. Just keep going. Think of it like I am developing roots. Okay, we are now in number 4. I'm excited about this one because I think it's really going to yield results. So the first thing that I learned from the book Atomic Habits is that, and I want us to have this as our mantra: forget the goals. Just forget the goals. Focus on the systems. Let's break it down. If you are a student and your goal might be to be the best graduating student or to get excellent grades, your systems look like the hours you put in studying, the amount of extra work that you do to test if you understand the material. Those are the systems. And when you focus on the systems, you actually make progress. I want us to imagine a basketball match. Either team wants to win, they want to score the winning goal, or they want to have the most points. But if a team focuses on the scoreboard instead of actually putting in the work to win the match, they're gonna lose. So I want us to see our habits and life like that. Stop focusing on the goals, stop focusing on the scoreboard, double down on the system. Goals can set you in the right directions, but systems would ensure that you are not just in motion, but you're actually making progress. Everyone has goals. Winners and losers have goals. Everyone starts the year off on an emotional high. I want to do this, but the distinguishing factor between the people that will actually stick to their goals are the people that have systems in place to ensure that they are making progress. How can we apply this into our life today? I want us to look at the habits that we wrote in the previous lesson and think and brainstorm, how can I turn these goals into a system that will ensure that I see the outcome that I want. Okay, if you're struggling with this, I want you to take a bold step and drop it down in the comment section what goals you want to achieve. And who knows, maybe somebody can help you brainstorm and see how you can turn that goal into a system. We do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the levels of our system. Guys, if you made it to this part of the video, thank you. I am so honored. All right, so the final lesson that I learned from Atomic Habits is that your habits are part of a larger system. It is a cycle of endless refinement. Do not look at it as a to-do list to take off your day. Look at it like I'm building this life for myself. I am building this outcome. I am becoming this person. Atomic means tiny. Look at this tiny lamp. It's just a bunch of molecules. It's literally just a bunch of atoms. And because the atoms are just tightly packed together, it has become this cute lamp. I want us to think of our habits like atoms. Hence, the essence of the book: tiny changes, remarkable results. Your habits are part of a larger ecosystem. It's just a building up of molecules, atoms that would eventually fit into the bigger picture of who you are. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you guys for sticking through till the end. I genuinely hope that we have learned something from this video and that by the end of this we are wiser by words. Bye.